Coming up, we're going to talk about some of those defensive players that have had breakout seasons thus far. Who needs to have breakout seasons over the final 5 games? We'll discuss all that coming up next here on Locked On Sooners.
You are Locked On Sooners, your daily podcast on the Oklahoma Sooners. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Once again, thanks for making Locked On Sooners your first listen every single day. Shout out to all the everydayers out there tuning in and subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Every season in college football, there has to be guys that have breakout seasons for you to be successful. We knew going into this year that for Oklahoma to have success, they needed R. Mason Thomas to have a good year and replicate what he did last year. Jaden Jackson, Dominic Williams, same thing. Kip Lewis, Kobe McKinley. Kip Lewis needed to repeat what he did last year. We needed to see, guys like John Mateer obviously play well. We needed to see an offensive line improve. We needed to see some wide receivers break out. So let's talk through guys that have had these breakout seasons over the first 7 games of the year. And to me, it starts with 2 guys on the defensive side of the ball, David Stone and Taylor Wein. David Stone, man, he's really come on strong, especially over the last 4 or 5 games. He's really picked up his production. Right now, he leads the Oklahoma Sooners in Pro Football Focus's stops metric with 20. And that's by just playing 211 snaps. Right now, he actually leads Oklahoma's defensive linemen in snaps with 211, just in front of Grayson Halton at 191 and Dominic Williams at 170. Jaden Jackson's back there at 158. Now, remember, Dominic Williams, Jaden Jackson, they sat out the Kent State game. So, yes, but David Stone is having that breakout season right now. He's been fantastic. He's second on the team in total pressures, according to Pro Football Focus, with 17. And like I mentioned, the Pro Football Focus stop metric of 20, that takes into account down and distance. So if you have an unsuccessful first down because David Stone tackled you, that's considered a stop, even if you gain 1 or 2 yards. So it takes into account some of the efficiency numbers, expected points added, that kind of thing. And David Stone is just absolutely playing dominant football. Was listening to Oklahoma Breakdown, and Gabe Eicher talked about David Stone might very well be the best defensive lineman in the country right now. If not now, then he's heading towards that. And it's hard to argue it. The dude is just playing phenomenally right now. And not to be outdone is Taylor Wein. Taylor Wein arguably made one of the plays of the game in that one. And I'm not talking about the interception. I'm talking about first quarter, South Carolina's first drive of the game. Lenora Sellers on 4th and goal, gets away from the pile a little bit. He gets put under pressure, gets crowded around, is able to slip through the massive humanity, and looks like he's heading towards the end zone. He's got a free run. It's going to be really tough for anybody to stop his momentum. And then here comes Taylor Wein, disengages from the offensive lineman that was blocking him, and is able to chase down Lenora Sellers and tackle him before he's able to get to the end zone. A huge play in that game, because if South Carolina scores at 7-7, and hey, listen, they're going to gain some confidence that they can score on this defense. But he shuts it down, and he's just been great. He was one of those guys that got a lot of buzz all off season long. R. Mason Thomas said he was going to be the breakout defensive end. He's going to have 5.5 sacks on the year. And he's just performing. He's showed up every single week, and he's one of Oklahoma's best defensive players. And I don't think going into the season, we were expecting that. I mean, everybody was thinking, okay, maybe this is going to be a guy that breaks out this year. But I don't think anybody was going to sit there and consider that Taylor Wein could be Oklahoma's best defensive player. That, to me, or one of their best defensive players, but he's playing like one of their best defensive players. He's got 10.5 tackles for loss right now. That leads the Oklahoma Sooners. He's got 3.5 sacks. That's second on the team, only behind R. Mason Thomas. So, I mean, he's putting together a fantastic season. For reference, Ethan Downs last year had 9 tackles for loss and 3 sacks, opposite of R. Mason Thomas. That just goes to show what a difference having another dynamic player at defensive end across from your already dynamic player in R. Mason Thomas, what that can do for you. And I'm not trying to throw a shot at Ethan Downs or downplay what he did, but when we thought about that this defense could be better than what it was last year, it was a lot of projection. I'll be honest, we were projecting out a little bit that the defense was going to be better because you were expecting steps from Jaden Jackson, a better year from Dominic Williams, and you were hoping for a breakout from David Stone. And then you were expecting another big year from Grayson Halton, and you're getting all that, but you're getting the breakout seasons from David Stone, from Taylor Wein, and that makes your defensive line legitimately 8 guys deep because you can play R. Mason Thomas, Marvin Jones Jr., Taylor Wein, Adepoju Adebaware. You can play Danny Okoye. I mean, that gives you 9 guys. And then you consider the 4 defensive tackles. And if you want to throw Marcus Strong in there because the dude just makes plays when he's on the field, you got 10 guys that you can rotate along your defensive line. And that's absolutely huge. But Taylor Wein, I mean, he's playing like one of the best defensive ends in college football. And I don't feel like that's hyperbole because every time he's out on the field in every single game, he's making plays for this team. And it creates a lot of optimism that, okay, even though you're going to lose R. Mason Thomas to the NFL draft, where he's probably going to be a top 50 pick, if not a first round draft pick in 2026, you still feel pretty good about your defensive end group led by Taylor Wein. And what's amazing about that is, okay, we were hoping that it'd be Adepoju Adebaware or Danny Okoye breaking out this year, but with Taylor Wein taking on so much responsibility, you're still allowing for the development of PJ and for Danny, and they could have a breakout over the final 5 games of the year. Danny Okoye is coming on strong. PJ, they're coming on strong. They're having really good games. They both had good games against South Carolina, and I think they're going to continue to get more playing time as the season goes along. So the future is still very, very bright at defensive end. The other one on defense, Kendall Daniels. I just remember hearing so much talk from Oklahoma State fans about how, oh, you're going to regret picking him up. He's not going to perform. He's not going to have the season that you hope he's going to have. And he's been better than advertised. Like, he's been better than what you could have hoped, because all of the narratives and all the talk about him was that he just wasn't going to give a good effort. Well, he's one of Oklahoma's best defensive players. And he was one of Oklahoma's best defensive players against South Carolina. I think he was second on the team in tackles, had 2 tackles for loss, 2 big tackles for loss, several big stops on 3rd or 4th down. He's playing really good football right now. He is an X factor for this defense because of his size and his athleticism and his physicality. When he brings it like that, it just fires everybody up. It's just, again, another physical freak that you have on your defense, and somebody that is going to continue to have a really good season for the Oklahoma Sooners. Offensively, it starts with Tory Blaylock for me. That's the breakout player on offense. Yeah, you've had good performances from other players like, Xavier Robinson was good this Saturday. You've had good performances from John Mateer, but you expect John Mateer to have good performances. You're paying him to have good performances. And he was one of the more highly thought of quarterbacks coming out of the transfer portal. You expect some of these things. Well, Tory Blaylock was the unexpected, because you bring in Jaden Ott, you expect him to be your bell cow. That has fizzled out. It's not working. After that, you thought Javonte Barnes. Well, he's not healthy, according to the coaching staff. I don't know if that's the case or if they've got other plans for him that don't involve playing in 2025. And then it was Taylor Tatum. Okay, well, he's been banged up. Now, he did get into the game on Saturday, didn't look super confident when he ran it. Of course, he's playing with the backups, so I'll be curious to see what he looks like moving forward. Got to get him in the game, got to get him into a rhythm a little bit, because he is a dynamic player. But Tory Blaylock has been awesome. Every time he's gotten the football, Oklahoma very rarely has a negative play. Almost every time it's a positive play, whether it's 2 to 3 yards, or like we saw on Saturday, 18 yards on a pair of runs in the first quarter. The guy is just getting better and better with the more work that he's getting. And I think what we saw on Saturday was a more confident Tory Blaylock, because he went into that game knowing he was the guy and really believing that he was the guy. Because I think for a true freshman, you're just trying to go out there and maybe not make mistakes. You're trying to go out there and just simply do your job and not try to do anything extra. You just want to keep moving the ball forward. And we were getting that from him. We were getting the dirty yards from Tory Blaylock, and he was putting those together, and he was playing strong, competitive football and just grinding stuff out. Not necessarily looking to make guys miss in the open field, not necessarily looking to break a big play, but just getting what he could. Well, we saw this Saturday that he's capable of way more than that. And he's gotten more confident as the season has gone along that, hey, if I can bounce this to the outside. I've got the speed. I've got the agility to do that. I can make that guy miss in the open field. I can run through some of these arm tackles and pick up extra yards. I don't have to just bowl guys over. I can try to make guys miss. And he did a lot of that. Against South Carolina, he had a number of missed tackles forced. And I'm going to Pro Football Focus right now to take a look at it because it was an impressive effort. They only credited him with 2 missed tackles forced, but I'm sure it was more than that. He had 3 runs of more than 10 yards, 2 for more than 15 yards. He averaged 2.42 yards after contact in the game, which is a solid number. And he's just going to continue to get better and better as the season goes along. Elsewhere on offense, Isaiah Sategna. And I bring Isaiah Sategna up simply because of all of the transfer portal additions, and with Deion Burks coming back, he was kind of the guy that was, I don't want to say lost in the shuffle, but not talked about as much. But the coaching staff talked about him. They talked about how consistent he was and how dynamic he was with the ball, and we're seeing that. I remember talking to a guy, he writes for me over at Sooners Wire, but also covers the Arkansas Razorbacks, and when he put in his season prediction, I kind of asked him, I was like, well, what's up with this? And I think he had Oklahoma going 8-4, 7-5 or something like that. And he's like, I have a hard time believing in a wide receiver core that features Isaiah Sategna because he played at Arkansas last year and was just kind of okay. Well, he's been better than you could have expected. He's your leading receiver. He's been dynamic with the football. He's made plays in the open field when he's gotten the opportunity. Right now, he's got 37 catches for 493 yards and 4 touchdowns. That's a great start to the season. I mean, he's on pace to, be around, 900 yards, almost 1,000 yards this season. And if he can continue doing what he's doing, it's going to make life really, really difficult for opposing defenses. And hopefully at some point it opens things up down the field for guys like Deion Burks, Javonte Gibson, Jaren Kanak. So those are the breakout players through the first half plus of the season. Got to see more out of Deion Burks. I need to see a better second half of the season from him. Got to see the offensive line continue to improve and build on what they did on Saturday against South Carolina. If they can continue building on that and they can have another good week against an Ole Miss team that gave up over 200 yards of rushing to Georgia this past weekend, then you'll feel good about the direction that they're heading. And I want to see the Xavier Robinson thing continue. He was really good this past week. I think he's got a chance to be really good moving forward. You can follow Jay at Unfair Sports. Go check out his channel, Unfair Sports, for more Oklahoma Sooners and college football coverage. You can follow me at John 9 Williams and read my work covering the Sooners over at SoonersWire.com. The show is at Locked On Sooners on all of your favorite social media platforms. But until next time, for my guy Jay Smith, I'm John Williams. We'll talk to you then. Boomer Sooner!